Hello, it's the Red-Headed Poet again. Today we're going to do something a little different. It's going to be a short video. I just wanted to kind of go over some of my dice that I make because I had started making small, like, miniature sculptures and casting them in dice, and it's been a process and a learning, quite a learning curve for me. But I've gotten, I think, decent at it. But I brought up a bunch of my dice. I'm just going to kind of show them off and talk about how I make them and other related stuff. And I also have a bunch of ones that I was casting last night that should be ready. I'm going to try to unmold those. So hopefully I haven't checked them. Hopefully there's no voids or anything. If anything, it'll give me a chance to talk about, the challenges in dice making. But first off, I have a fairly large one here. This is a dragon that I made, a little dragon hatchling. You can probably see him here. Let me tilt it this way. This is one of my, forget what I labeled it as. I think I labeled these as giant D20s. As you can see, I have tiny hands, but it is about the size of the palm of my hand. And yeah, for this one, I made the sculpture. I usually have like a copy of the die, so I have the size to when I'm sculpting them. But I hand make them out of polymer clay, just like I do the other sculptures I've been posting. And then I have silicone molds that I put them inside of, and I'll talk a little bit more about the molds in a second here. I just want to kind of show off some of my stuff. Alright, so these are a bunch of my oversized ones. I'm calling them large now because I have a second size that I'm starting to do. They're larger than your standard. So this one, let's see if I can get the camera to focus on it. This is a little dragon, same kind of thing as the one before, it's just smaller. A little tiny dragon inside an oversized D20, which is a 20-sided die. You can't see him too well. Let me see, camera's right here. See if I can get the camera to focus on him. It's easier to see in person always, but you gotta see him. So we have him, and these are currently all available in my shop. We have my little shrimp boy. This was fun to sculpt. The legs were extremely fragile, which makes it difficult to get into the mold without breaking, but I managed on this one. As you can see, I have my logo right there on the 20 face. I don't put it on any of the other dice, I just want it on the 20 face. For these, I did make my own mold. This is nigiri, because I was really thinking about sushi one day, and that's how this one ended up being made. You can see they're pretty shiny. For a while I used to hand sand some of them, and my earlier dice I wasn't as happy with the quality because when you hand sand, like I think I'm developing like carpal tunnel. My fingers will start to go numb, my hands will cramp up, so I can't really sand them to the level they should be. I tried a rotary tumble for a while, but that didn't go as well for me. I know a lot of dice makers like to use not rotary, but vibratory tumblers. But I find the dice have a tendency to float on top sometimes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just not very effective. So I swapped to a rotary tumbler. You just have to be careful not to use a ton of grit unless you're willing to lose the sharpness of your edges. Some of my dice, I have done that. They're not all perfectly sharp edged, which I'm fine with. I'd rather have them be nice and clear and glossy than perfectly sharp. But yeah, this is a little robot guy I made. He's got a little flower. Let's pull him up to the camera. You can see him. His little flower. And all of these are handmade, hand-painted inserts. Alright. Now I do a lot of these. I'm labeling them owl cups now just because of potential issues with names, but typically they're called owlbears. Or if you look at other video games and stuff, you'll see similar creatures called owlkin or something along those lines. So yeah, this is my design on those. I have little D20s like that. Now this one is an older mold. It doesn't have my logo. You can see the 20 on here. It's my little seal that I made. Let me think, camera to focus on that. Come on, camera. There we go. This was back when I used to buy the molds. I think I usually use Druid dice. They have really nice molds. But I really wanted to have my own logo and learn how to do it myself, so I started 3D printing my own masters. that was quite a learning curve as well. I'm going to talk about the mold making process on that in a second, but it's not easy. A lot of dice makers will just have separate like mold makers make it for them, and they'll either just buy the masters, the dice masters from them of the design they want, or they'll just buy the finished molds. And I started out with buying finished molds. So this is just a basic colored set. As you can see, I did actually color the numbers in on this. You can see my logo a little better there. I typically don't paint in the numbers on these because you can still see them. They're quite deep. And if I paint in the numbers, it really obscures the little figurines inside. So I kind of leave it up to the buyer. If they want to paint them in, they can. I don't on anything that has like designed inserts. Now colored type sets like this with the powders and glitters, I always paint the numbers in on these. I want to come up with some more molds with like larger, maybe a full set of oversized like this size with larger dice so they're easier to read. I've thought about that. I haven't quite gotten that far, but yeah. But yeah, as you can see, this is another one. This is a rose that I did. Alright, and then we got one more here. This one's a little hard to see in the camera, but it's just a little dragon with his tongue sticking out and he's still in the egg. He's still halfway in his egg. But yeah, I personally love making these the best because they're a little cheaper. I usually sell them for around $10 to $15. Usually $15 for the insert ones and $10 for the colored ones like this. I like them because they let me do a larger figurine and I don't have to do a full set of dice. Now I do also do full sets. I can put these aside for a second. So, don't fall. Alright. So for example, this is one of my full colored sets that I did. If I can get the camera to focus out. There we go. This poor camera is going to have to keep going down and up. So you can see these. It's just a mix of silver and gold mica powder with blue paint. Again, it's my design. I like the D4s, the four-sided dice, to be like this because they're a lot easier to pick up. When you have the triangle type ones, not only are they dangerous if you step on them, they're very painful. They also are difficult to pick up. So I think having the boxier ones just makes it easier to roll, easier to pick up. I like the teardrop shaped as well. I used to do those, but I have a couple of those here. But yeah, my new design is this, and I do exclusively this now. I'm still going through some of my older stock that I have here, like, there we go. Like, these are the older one that I bought. I may run these through the polisher again. You can see they're not quite as shiny as the other set I had, but I was so fond of them. They're little dinosaurs. They're still on my shop, actually. I think I may pull them down temporarily so I can polish them better, but yeah, they're little dinosaurs that I hand sculpted each one. And here's an example of a teardrop. Teardrop shape's pretty decent too. It's a little raptor. I can hold them to the camera. Oh, there we go. You can kind of see him there. Little raptor. The T-Rex. Come on, camera, focus. You can do it. Focus, camera. There we go. But yeah, I did a lot of insert sets like these. This is the old one, the old mold, so it doesn't have my logo on it, but I'm probably going to repolish this and see if I can put it back on the shop. I think it's still up. I may have to take it down before I repolish it. Here's another set I did. This one, another one I want to repolish and then put back on the shop. It's just a set of mushrooms, different kinds of mushrooms in different colors. But yeah, I usually do a series of various types of related objects, or I do them all the same. For example, I also have these are done with mine. I think I had these discounted because there's some damage to them, but if I can hold it up here. Hold on. There we go. They're little cat heads. And I apologize. I don't think the cat meowing can be picked up on the audio at the moment. But one of my kitty cats is not very happy right now. She's fine, but she just wants me to go sit with her. Hold on. There we go. Yep, so I do little kitty cat heads. I need to do some more of these in different types. But, yeah, these are still, I believe, on the hook. They should be. I have to double check again. And before we go to the mold making, I want to talk a little bit about one of my current projects. So I really like the idea of having a potion-type bottle die, if you will, for health potions. And in D&D, the regular health potion is 2d4 plus 2. So let's see if I can spin this. Hold on. There we go. So I designed this. I 3D printed the design myself, worked on it. You just line it up for whatever's in the middle, and then you add the plus 2 that's on the top. You can kind of see it. It's got liquid on the inside. I like this design. I'm very happy with it. The biggest issue I have right now, sorry, the number painting was a little rough there. The biggest issue I have is the liquid inside. So I'm still working. This is like the second prototype of the design. I had a smaller one like this that I did, but the numbers were not indented. So if I painted them and your finger goes across, you'll just like rub the paint right off. So with the indented numbers, they should be easier to read. The issue is the mica powder likes to stick to the inside of the bottle, which makes the bottle look hazy, and then you can't see the lovely swirling glitter inside. So I'm going to work on maybe a different type of liquid, a different type of glitter, until I get like a combination or color that I like. But these will be showing up soon. And to make these, when you make molds, you have to start with a base and then cast a mold from it. So for these, I do 3D printing. The problem with making molds directly from 3D printed objects, now some people do it. I know they let them sit out for a while. They'll be like, oh, it works fine. You have to put like a silicone release agent on it and it won't react. But regular 3D printed objects actually almost chemically react with what's called platinum cured silicone that you typically use. So one of my molds here, like this is a platinum cured silicone. It's very flexible, very durable. It will react and not cure, and you'll have this sticky mess all around the object you're trying to make a mold of. So I tried everything under the sun, nothing worked, so the only thing I do is I have to make 2 molds. There's another type of silicone you can get called tinned cured silicone, and tinned cured silicone doesn't have that reaction. Now it rips more easily and it's not as good for long-term molds. So I'll make this was actually a 2-piece. So we had the cap piece here, and then the triangle like cone piece here, and they're separate. So I made a first mold from that using the 3D printed mini that I printed. I have an Elegoo Saturn, the original Elegoo Saturn. So I printed that. Then I cast a resin, what I call a master, kind of like with the dice. We create a master. It's like our key that we cast all the molds from. So we have a perfect set that becomes the master for the rest of the sets that we do. So every time a mold gets worn out, you make a new mold from the set that you kept. So I do that. I make the original master. That one I polish up like crazy to get it to where I want. And then I have to make the platinum cured silicone, the final mold that I will be using to make all the replicas. So it's an involved process, but it's the only one I found to really be successful. Like I said, a lot of people have ways that you can cast stuff from 3D printed directly with platinum cured silicone. I have never had success with that. And it ruined so much silicone, and silicone it's not cheap. Like, it's not horribly expensive, but it's not cheap, so I couldn't afford to keep making mistakes, so I decided just go the long route and actually make 2 molds for each, which takes a long time. Every time I want to do a new set or a new type, my next project's going to be designing my own, probably using the same design, but just blowing it up, a giant D20 mold with my logo on it. And then I want to do a blank as well, because the blanks are like these, slightly smaller without the numbers. And those allow me to do like hand-painted designs, and then I can cast it inside another, the mold. So those are pretty cool. I hope to do some more of those, but I haven't quite finished my blank set. I've been having some issues with the sizing. But after all of that, let's unmold some stuff here. Now, it looks like this did come a little bit loose, so I don't know what it's going to look like. Okay, oh, that's pretty nice. On my sets, I make the numbers very deep so that if any of the faces get a little raised, I can sand them down without losing the definition of the numbers. So if you can see, like, I think it's called flashing here, it's really thin. You want it to be super paper thin. I know I wasted a lot of silicone on the cap here, but when I do this, it's a lot less likely to pop up and leave bubbles underneath. Because when you do thinner caps, I find I have more issues with bubbling. So this was a little watermelon set that I was working on. I sculpted them the other day. If you follow me on TikTok, you can see a lot of my designs, like step by step. I'll post them because I do a lot of them at work. I work a night shift job where once I finish my main job, I have a lot of free time, and my boss is fine with me doing artwork, which is pretty cool. I'm limited on what I can do. Come on, camera, focus. I'm limited on what I can actually do at work, but I usually sculpt these and paint little minis. So yeah, did that. Now I believe there's actually a mistake in this mold that I'm going to have to manually fix. And I may have to make an extra mold for myself. I think I saw it was on the, one of the D10s. Pop all of these out of here. But yeah, I like the silicone that I use. I don't know how to pronounce it. It looks like, I call it BB Dino, but it's BBDINO. They sell lots of different types of silicone, and I've always been very happy with, come on camera, focus. Focus. There we go. I've always been very happy with their silicones. Yeah, so like these, I'm gonna have to sand these rough edges a little bit around the one face, where the mold edges are, and then I'll just pop them in the rotary tumbler for like a day or two. I use, let me think. I think the shore hardness on this was like 20 or 30. That's usually what I get for the mold silicones. But, okay, so we have a little, like, it's poking through here a little bit. See if I can show the camera. So that's my fault for making it a little too big. I could probably sand that off and paint it, so it'll be fine. But, minor issue there. I think there's a flaw in the mold that I'm going to have to manually fix. And then I'll just have to not use my... I have to make a bonus tiny mold to go with this one of the D10 here. Because I think it was the 2 that got something stuck in it. Yep. If you can see, the 2 has... Come on, camera. Like a little bubble. One of my polishing media, because when the rotary tumble, when I rotary tumble them, I use a ceramic polishing media. One of them got stuck in the numbers. Now I got some bigger ones, so that'll stop happening. But I was an idiot and I didn't notice that it was still stuck in it when I put them in the casting to make the mold. But overall, this set's, it's fine. I can fix that, and the rest of it's pretty good. I'll just have to polish it up a little bit on the edges. And the D6s are nice. They almost come out perfect. They just need a little polish on the one face, usually. So yeah, we have a watermelon set right there. They came out lovely. I'm happy with that. Alright, let's see what else I got here. This is one of my older ones. You can tell the cap is thinner. I'm trying to move toward using really thick caps because I have more success with that, and you can see silicone is separating. I don't know how much longer I can use this mold because I'm worried it's going to come apart, but it's a nice mold. It does work well. But I have a second one here, so it won't be the end of the world. Again, you can see how thin that is. If it gets really thick, that's usually a sign that your faces are going to be super raised, and you don't want that. It's a pain to fix. Alright, so these are kind of hard to pop out. Alright, there we go. It looks like that turned out pretty well. I will have to polish it a little bit because it got a little warped, but I can fix that. Come on, camera. And this is my little axolotl. Focus, camera, focus. There we go. You can kind of see him. He's reflecting the camera light way too much. Just a little white axolotl. You can see the edges there that got a little warped. I'm going to have to sand that down. But Little axolotl boy. Put him over there. Alright. Now here's the new size. It's one, like a size or two bigger than the other ones that I was doing, the D20s. I like doing the oversized D20s, so this is like the extra large D20. It's not as big as the giant, but it's in between the two. So like this is a regular, this is the large, and this is the extra large. Ooh, that came out nice. Again, flashing super thin, barely even stuck to the cap here. And yes, I'm making all the caps super thick. It weighs silicone, but it has less of an issue with bubbling and other issues. Because the caps are really thin and there's air still caught. Sometimes it can warp when you put it in the pressure pot, or it can, come on, out. It can bend, it can cause multiple issues. That's kind of what happened here. It warped a little bit. Alright. So this is going to be the next size. If you can see the size comparison, move it down a little bit. Like that. So that's the regular, large, extra large, and giant. And I didn't mention it before, but I do use a pressure pot for these. I bought an old... It's actually a spray pot. You can see, I'll show you this guy while I'm talking. It's actually a paint sprayer for doing walls. And come on. And I usually put it up. I don't usually go past 40 psi. I don't really see the point. But yeah, when you use a pressure pot, you have to be careful that your molds don't have really thin edges, because it will kind of buckle them in sometimes. So thicker molds are nicer. And then the pressure pot gets rid of almost all the bubbles inside the resin, because if you don't use it, you're going to have to use a heat gun. I wouldn't use alcohol, because if you use too much, it can cause reactions with the silicone. I'm really happy with this guy. He's my little opossum. He's not going to go in the shop just yet, but he will be there soon. I gotta polish up the edges a little bit, but he came out nice. So yes, this is the first extra large that's going to be on my shop for the new size here. And we got some more. I have an example of a blank one. This is one of the bot molds that I got from Etsy. Now, as you can see, here's an example of a void. Yeah. This is when air got trapped inside the mold. I may have also underfilled it a bit. But it got stuck and the pressure pot sealed it to the bottom. It didn't come out. Oh, yeah, you can see this is what happens to the molds when they get older. They start to rip. This mold is pretty old. I need to make my own blank for this. But it's fine, because this guy was just going to be painted anyway. But it's a blank so that I can do like hand-painted designs and then cast it inside a mold this size, because it's slightly smaller. And it kind of seals the design behind the numbers. I want to do more hand-painted because I think they're pretty cool. But that's just a blank mold that's designed to be that way. Okay. Then we have another regular size. This is my new regular size mold that I made the other day. Good, we don't have any voids. That's good. Flashing's really thin again. Alright. These are really hard for me to get out. Sometimes I'm lazy and I leave the lid partially attached just so that I don't mix them up. I started color coding my molds just so that I knew which was which. Oh, that one's nice. This came out really well. It's another little owl cub. Fresh out of the mold. Again, I'm going to have to paint up the edges on the one. You can see they're kind of ragged here. But, it's pretty cute. Let's turn him this way so he's facing the camera. Alright. And we got one more thing here. My other full mold. Now this one I did made a little thin on the cap. I should have done it thicker, but I can't really fix it now. But it looks like it turned out okay. We have, it's pretty clear. This one's getting older. You can see around this, see how there's edges here that are ripping away. So I'm going to have excess silicone, or not silicone, resin that I'm going to have to cut away because part of the mold came out. Part of the silicone ripped. And it messes up the shape of the mold. But this was an ice cream, like, and frozen desserts set that I designed. Yeah, here we have our strawberry ice cream in a cone. There we go. Strawberry ice cream cone. I had a lot of fun making this one. Okay. Ice cream sandwich. Like those swirled chocolate vanilla things. I'm not real fond of the soft served like that, but I know a lot of people are. I did that one. Then those frozen pops. Like that. Then I have some like this where it's like orange citrus twists pops. Like that. And we have a vanilla popsicle with icing on top and sprinkles. And last but not least, I believe it was an orange cream popsicle. Yep. There we go. So yeah, I'll have the ice cream set up too. Again, I have to sand these just a little bit by hand, not a ton. Then I'll pop them in my rotary tumbler and leave them for a day or two. You also can use a polish. I think automotive polishes were the ones that were working the best. They come out glass-like and shiny. So definitely, I'm trying to think what the brand name is. I don't recall. But yeah, that's what creates this lovely, super shiny sheen on the edges of all of these. But I'm really happy with a lot of these. There's a lot of things that I would like to make in the future. For example, I was working on light up dice. There's a way to do it, but it requires some electronic parts that I'm not really able to get. I was using contactless LEDs, which it's kind of like wireless chargers or induction cooktops, where if you place something on top, it generates the electricity through it distance-wise. So you can do that with dice, and I was going to make up a dice tray that fit that. The issue is the setups with those are designed to be plugged in, and I didn't want to have like I didn't want everyone to have to plug their dice tray in for their dice to light up. I wanted it to be charge-based or battery-based. And I've been researching stuff. The one battery I found that worked with it, it worked, but it kind of heated up, and that made me a little concerned about safety things. So I haven't done too much with that. I will be doing big dice on these and more blanks to do some more hand-painted dice. I will be selling other stuff too. I've been working on, I really want to find a way to kind of do an all-in-one dice box that has everything that you need in one place and is kind of modular, like with magnets or something. But again, I don't really have the money to buy all the stuff I need to work through how to make that. I made a few dice boxes before. Mine has lasted, but the one that my friend has kind of got torn up, so they're not terribly durable. I find that most of the stuff that I keep, I'm very gentle, I guess, with things. That's part of the reason I use like the super light soft clay. But when I hand it to other people, they'll often break it in like 5 seconds or something, or they'll smash it by mistake, because apparently I'm very gentle with things and most people aren't, so I'm always concerned about durability. So yeah, that's why I do the dice a lot of times, because the dice are super durable. Like, you can scratch them, but that's about it. So yeah, I have a lot more ideas. I don't always have the time or the funds to do them. I know I was doing silicone dragons for a little bit, but I just don't have the money to keep doing that unless people are going to start buying them. So for now, we'll do the dice. I have some more dice coming, but I thought this would be a fun little video where I could talk about dice making and show off some stuff in my shop. If you watch it, I greatly appreciate it. If you can check out my Etsy shop, look at the stuff I have. If you want me to make, like, I don't know, a specific kind of D20 with something cool inside, by all means, comment what you'd like to see me make. If you want to see me make another, like, mythological creature, I'll be doing another one this month, hopefully. I'm a little bit, schedule-wise, a little bit tight because I have jury duty potentially and some other stuff. But, and I work full-time. But yeah, if you have anything you'd like to see me make, dice-wise, figurines, stuff like that, I'm also going to start doing more painting again. I had some old painting videos on here. So I want to do some just acrylic painting, basic stuff. I'll do those full and then edited just like I do the sculpting videos. But I may sculpt some miniatures as well for this. I don't know. We'll see. So far, nobody's really watching these yet, but I want to have at least a decent amount of a decent amount of content, so that if I start promoting my channel, then people actually have something to watch on it. But yeah, if you have any suggestions, things you'd like to see me make, please let me know. I will read the comments. I don't always see the notifications right away, but I usually go and check periodically. So if you watched this far, I appreciate it greatly. Thank you so much.